All statements and opinions expressed by guests of the Adult in the Room podcast are strictly their own and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or opinions of the host, producers, or advertisers. All interviews are presented in their most complete possible form in the interests of free speech. No statements should be interpreted as financial, legal, or medical advice. Listener and viewer discretion are strongly advised.
It's the Adult in the Room podcast with Victoria Taft. That's me.
So Robert Spencer, oh gosh, I didn't realize how late I was in getting him on. Robert Spencer's a dogged researcher. He's an elegant writer, director of Jihad Watch, and he is a Shillman Fellow at the David Horowitz Freedom Center and the author of more than 30 books, the latest of which he's going to talk about right now. In fact, Intifada on the Hudson, the selling of Zohran Mamdani is one that you will want to get and read it because this is an important book and we're very, very happy to have him on. He's a very busy man, so I appreciate him doing that. And there we are. So I'm going to find my stuff here and bring him on right now. Robert Spencer, how are you?
Hey, Victoria. Good to see you.
It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for taking your time to come on here.
Thank you.
Here we are. We got some crazy stuff going on here, and I've got lots of segments of his speech that we can talk about, but I wanted to give you, the expert on this guy, the floor to tell us what just happened.
Well, you were right. New York voted for free stuff. They haven't really thought this through. They don't really take seriously how dangerous it is that they've elected a more or less open Marxist, as well as a, I'm sorry, I'm hearing myself back a little.
Are you? Oh, boo. Okay. Take it off. Take it off.
Without the
I think, I guess, I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. And we'll see if we'll sort of navigate the echoes and stuff.
Okay.
I just want everybody to know Robert does this all the time. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So
that means I got to concentrate. Mamdani, where were we? He was, They don't
free
care
stuff
about that he's a Marxist because half of them are Marxists anyway in New York, but also they don't really realize how different that is from the kind of governance that they've had already. They have elected de Blasio, who is also a Marxist.
Yes.
They figure that really it doesn't matter because the worst aspects of Marxism he won't be able to implement anyway. You need gulags and walls around the city for that. And so it's not really a problem. And they don't realize that he can drive the city into bankruptcy, cause all the people who own businesses to flee, destroy the tax base entirely, destroy the city ultimately because nobody's going to be there to hire anybody. And so they, like I say, they haven't really thought this through, but that's the way the left always is. I'm sorry I'm going on long, but one other
Please,
thing.
we have time.
Because he quotes, he gets right up there and he quotes Eugene Debs, the socialist leader from the early 20th century. And I was thinking about Eugene Debs, and I was thinking, isn't it funny that in New York in 2025, Eugene Debs is getting a big hand?
I know.
The thing about Eugene, though, is that he's a real good model socialist for 2025 because he was a victim. He went to prison for opposing World War I, and he suffered a great deal in prison, and he's sort of a martyr for socialism and for the freedom of speech. And so the left loves him, of course, to this day. But also, you have to say, Eugene Debs became a socialist before Lenin, before Stalin, before Mao, before Democratic Kampuchea. He didn't see the gulags and the mass death and the destruction of the economy. And so it's kind of funny that Zohran Mamdani is quoting this guy and lionizing him now when we have, this is 100 years later.
That's such a good point.
Socialism does. And yet he's still selling it as if it were 100 years ago.
I was was thinking about that because I remember in college I heard about Eugene Debs and Emma Goldman and how they were fellow anarchists and how her friends and her part of the gang assassinated, and one of her acolytes assassinated William McKinley.
Yep.
And just, hello, doesn't anybody know anything about what's going on, these movements in America's history before? And I just couldn't come away from this experience of this election this week without thinking about how little civics we teach, and anything having to do with a positive appreciation for Western civilization.
That's right. And so it's not just that they don't know the bloody history of socialism and communism, but also most of the voters in New York City don't have any idea why a capitalist system is better than socialism and why socialism is doomed to failure. They don't have any idea. And so they pull the lever for this guy because there he is. He's young, he's handsome, he's got a nice smile. He doesn't have a sexual harassment record a mile long like Andrew Cuomo. There you go.
Yeah, I want you to listen to something. This is just a mind blower. You've seen it, but this was reaction to his election on Tuesday night by some of his acolytes in New York, all of whom are women. Check it out.
Law starts now. Absolutely. Zohran Mamdani, Islamic Caliphate, our brother in Islam, Islamic Caliphate of New York, starts today, baby.
God, there is just something so electric, so satisfying about knowing that my MAGA parents, wherever they are probably having a horrible night tonight. Oh, I literally just got goosebumps thinking about it. Like they are in such a bad mood probably about the fact that Zoran just won and Prop 50 is gonna pass. Like, wow. God, I'm sorry. It just makes me feel good that my MAGA parents are probably upset right now.
When the day starts with Dick Cheney being dead, it ends with Mamdani winning. Oh, yes. Oh. I'm so happy. Oh my God, I'm so happy.
What a weirdo. Here's some B-roll for those girls to watch. Explain why they're wrong, Robert.
Well, yeah, they don't have any idea what's coming. They don't know that these pictures you're showing now is their future. And they don't know that they're enabling it. But they've already lost. I mean, I was thinking when I was watching that, what a shame. You know, why does that girl hate her parents so much?
Same thing I was thinking.
And the other one saying, it's so great Dick Cheney is dead. I'm no fan of Dick Cheney, but to rejoice in a man's death, where is these people moral? They have lost all their moral compass.
What is wrong?
I think that it's 20 years of leftist indoctrination, as well as the fact that they don't have any religion. They are only oriented toward this life. They don't understand anything beyond this earth. And they think, well, Dick Cheney did bad things, and so we should rejoice in his death.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I say, they've lost all their moral compass. This is why we get Zohran Mamdani as mayor of New York. Yeah.
Would you say it's just nihilism?
Yeah, to a great degree. I mean, it's tribalism also. You know, tribalism is combined with nihilism because they don't really know. If you asked any of those girls in that video, what is it exactly that you favor about Mamdani's policies vis-a-vis those of Andrew Cuomo or any other mayor of New York in the past? They wouldn't be able to tell you. They just know he's the young guy and he's the cool guy. He's in their group. And the other people are not in their group. The old corruptocrat Cuomo is not one of their guys. So just their voting tribe.
You know, there was a couple of things I wanted to roll past you with respect to Mamdani's speech the other night. Listen to this and tell me what this means. Oh, sure, Vic.
Or as we say on Steinway, ana minkum wa ilaykum. Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas,
Why is it so? It's always the Mexican abuelas.
Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses.
I haven't heard that one before.
Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties.
Trinidadian line cooks.
What's that?
Trinidadian line cooks. I'm sure that's a very good.
Who's back? He also gave a shout out to the SEIU.
Nobody's American. Notice.
Yeah. Nehru.
They're all from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really have an America. He's a socialist internationalist. So he is celebrating that they're all from somewhere else because that's what he wants. And that's actually what elected him. You know, if you take only native New Yorkers, he lost. But people who've been here gotten here over the last 20 years and moved into New York City, they elected him. And so they're his core following. And that's what he wants to celebrate, the dissolution of any kind of American identity, any sense of American unity, except what he's going to oppose with his authoritarian vision. That, you know, he also said, do you have this one in the, I'm jumping ahead, I suppose, a little bit.
You can do whatever you want, Robert. I'm just glad you're here.
Well, you know, it's wild because I just wrote an article for PJ, turned it in a few minutes before this, about another part of the speech where he says we're going to prove that there's no problem too large for the government to solve and no issue too small for the government to tackle. And I thought that's a total call for totalitarianism.
Yep.
The government is involved in every aspect of your life with no respite anywhere.
He says it in this cut, and he also uses in this cut the notion of Islamophobia. Let's see if this is the correct one.
Will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election?
Who wrote this? CARE?
The CARE is the biggest internet institution.
This new age will be defined by a competence and a compassion that have too long been placed at odds with one another. We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
There you go.
Yeah.
The phobia thing, that is, it's something he tried to hang on Cuomo for nothing. There were two big incidents. One was a campaign flyer where they put on the flyer, there was a scary picture of Mamdani. And, you know, we've all seen campaign flyers. They make the other guy look bad in the photo with the lighting. And so they made him look bad with the lighting. But Mamdani's group made a big deal of it, said, look, they darkened his skin and made his beard bigger. They were just increasing the contrast in the shadow. But Mamdani charged that this was this terrible Islamophobic flyer from the Cuomo campaign.
Oh, interesting. We've seen that. We know that they do that, right? For different people. Like, for example, all of a sudden, whether you love him or hate him, Donald Trump is orange. I mean, he's not always orange. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy.
And exaggerate his spray tan. All the time. They make that a big deal. And Cuomo did exactly the same thing. He just did, it was probably a standard photo, what do you call it? A filter or something.
Yeah.
Or when you try to make somebody look bad.
Right.
And, Mamdani made a big issue of it. And then Cuomo last couple weeks ago was on a show on WABC where the host said something like he's pro-terrorism. And Cuomo says, well, yeah, there's so many problems with this guy. You know, the kind of thing that people say on shows when they don't want to agree, but they don't want to disagree.
Yeah, well, he accepted the premise, so that was a...
Yeah, there you go. So that was a big instance of Islamophobia on the part of Cuomo. And Cuomo was put on the defensive both times, which I thought, you know, the guy's a savvy politician, part of the machine for decades. Why is he being so wrong-footed by this guy? It would have been easy to say, well, you know, you don't condemn, globalize the Intifada. You've spoken Hamas rhetoric about Israel. You've spoken about the jihad against India in favorable terms. Why should we think you're a terrorist?
Yeah.
Or a sympathizer? But of course, he doesn't have the courage to do that because Islamophobia is like the third rail. You can't touch anything coming even close to it, or you'll be destroyed.
Well, do you think that's still the case? It used to be when CARE made up the word and started distributing it, and people, whoa, we can't say anything about a person who happens to be Muslim, who's obviously Islamist, who then becomes a jihadi and then bombs something without harkening back to the fact that, hey, you know, there might be something in common with other people who have the same crazy viewpoint. And
yeah, I think that it's not as powerful as it used to be.
Right.
People like the late great Charlie Kirk did a lot to change that, because Charlie was right toward the end of his life very forthright about the nature of Islam and how it posed a threat. And he didn't start getting canceled everywhere as he would have just a few years before. But I do think an old dinosaur like Andrew Cuomo, he still shies away from it.
Yeah, it's just a fear. You've got to be able to speak clearly, speak the truth. Islamic, I think he called it supremacism, excuse me. So, that's a huge case, a very compelling case can be made for that use, that phrase, Islamic supremacism. If I could say it, I mean, that would be really pretty good. I want you to react to this. I'm sure you've seen, I know you know everything because you are, you're the Jihad Watch director. I mean, you know so much and you've been at this forever.
Yes.
How many?
600.
600. Yes. I understand that. Yes. I've been there too. So here we go. I'm sure you've seen it.
We found out that he's Jewish. His mother was Jewish and his grandmother was Jewish. So, Mr. Mayor,
that's Mamdani sitting there.
You might find out very soon that you don't hang out with me. So, welcome to our community, and I want to tell you about Rabbi Indig. Not when your numbers were up, when Adams dropped out. First day he called me up and told me, I like this guy, and I'm going to meet him no matter what the consequences are. He called me after he met you. He told me, this guy is a friend of the Jewish people. He's real, he's sincere, and I believe he's going to be the best.
Oh, he's going to eat those words.
With him all the way.
Okay, it's really hard to hear because it was in a place where it was very public and there was a lot of ambient sound. What do you think?
Well, in the first place, actually, I have not seen that before, so I got to ask you: was that the Neturei Karta guys?
I don't know. Well, I don't know the hats.
No, the hats are common to several groups, but there is a group of Orthodox Hasidic Jews called Neturei Karta, and they are very much against Israel. Only the Messiah can establish a state of Israel, and so the state of Israel that exists now was started by secular people. It has no legitimacy. And they go very far with this. They support the Palestinian Jihad. They support Iran. And most of the other Jewish groups, especially the Orthodox, think they're totally nuts. And I can't imagine any other Orthodox Jewish group palling around with Mamdani. So I suspect that's who this is, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I would go with your assessment. I don't really know. It's just that it's shocking that 30% or so of Jews voted for this guy.
Yeah, but most of them, their real religion is leftism.
Yeah.
They're not really voting because they're Jews. They're voting because they're communists. And so they love this guy because he's one of them.
What family of Islam is he from?
He's an Ithno-Sheri, 12er Shiite. That's the official religion of the Islamic Republic of Iran. And so, he's
a 12er.
He is. And in the 12ers, the supreme leader of Iran and the mullahs, they order the Iranians in the mosques every Friday to chant death to America. And Khamenei, the supreme leader, has said, this is not just a slogan, it's a policy. It's the goal of our regime. And so I think, if we had reporters today, they should have been asking Mamdani, do you believe in death to America? Do you support that as an imperative? And get him to say something about it, and either to distance himself from the mullahs or endorse it. After all, we know the guy is a real Marxist. He's made that very clear, talking about seizing the means of production, and that clip from the victory speech that you played a minute ago about government having a role in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they hate America and want to destroy it. The 12er Shiites hate America and want to destroy it. And so nobody's asking him, but I think it's a real question. Does he want to destroy New York as a prelude to bringing down the whole thing?
Well, it seems to me like there's a through line. I mean, he was hanging out with that guy who was the unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing that killed 6 people. I mean, it's just like, who doesn't know that's a bad look?
Yeah. Well, see, he knows there's no political cost because most people won't know who Siraj Wahhaj is. They don't remember that there was a 1993 World Trade Center bombing. They don't have any idea of the implications of such an appearance. They just think it's just another photo op. That's what politicians do. But Siraj Wahhaj took the blind sheikh all around New York in 1993 and had him speak at mosques. And the blind sheikh, Omar Abdul Rahman, is still in prison today for masterminding the first attempt to bring down the World Trade Center in 1993. And that was the one bombing you mentioned that 6 people were killed. He has also called for jihad in the United States, said the United States should have an Islamic government. His son, Siraj ibn Wahhaj, is in prison today for trying to start a jihad training camp in New Mexico where they wanted to train children to be school shooters.
Right. Oh, I've forgotten about that.
That's this guy's son. And so he knows, Mamdani knows, though, that anybody who says anything about that is going to just be called an Islamophobe and dismissed. And so he knows that the people who love Siraj Wahhaj will see that and say, Mamdani is okay. Sunnis who may hate Shia, they'll say, well, I'm going to vote for Mamdani. If Siraj Wahhaj likes him, then I like him. And at the same time, the other people, non-Muslims who don't know who he is, or leftists who might know but not care, it's no cost, no doubt.
Because everybody's dumb. They don't remember. They weren't alive. They don't care. Their parents didn't tell them, and they didn't learn about it in school. So how would they know? How would they know? I would also say that the 93 World Trade Center bombing, Rahman, who's the blind sheikh, who's on a supermax right now, I think, he also is related to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and helped conceive of the Operation Bojinka, which later became the attack on the World Trade Center, the capital, U.S. Capitol in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So there's a through line of real bad juju among these people, and these individuals here with respect to Zoran Mamdani, and how the hell he didn't know that, I have no idea. So I have to assume Daddy told him about it.
Yeah, you got to think so, because he is Daddy's boy. We have to also remember that Mamdani's father is a very well-known writer, a communist, and he wrote a book in 2005. I remember when this came out, Good Muslim, Bad Muslim, all about how 9/11 was America's fault, and we have to just give money to Muslims, and that will solve jihad, because they're just crying out, you see, they need help. And that's become the policy of the whole Western world. That's why we give aid, hundreds of millions of dollars in aid to the Palestinians. They kill 1,200 Israelis. We give them a few hundred million. We give Iran 10 billion. Twice Joe Biden did that. And it's because of Mahmoud Mamdani, Zohran's father, saying that the problem is the colonialism and the deprivation of the Islamic world. So if we relieve them economically, the jihad will go away.
Yeah.
It's not true. But Mamdani, the mayor, has said how much his father and his mother, Mira Nair, the filmmaker, have influenced him. And they're both Marxists.
Well, here's what was going on in the streets of New York after the election.
We're done hiding. We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is...
Just for a moment, who's torturing New York Islamists?
Yeah.
Rhetorical question, maybe?
Better, this guy, than in the country he came from and any other Muslim country in the world. He's got it better in New York, and he's complaining about being tortured.
I want you to watch the rest of this because I know my audience probably hasn't, and maybe you have. I want you to hear about this.
We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion.
This is
the
TikTok.
religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Streets of America. What did you just say there? What does that mean?
Peace be Sallahu wa alayhi wasallam is peace be upon him.
Oh, that's nice.
You say that every time you say the name of a prophet. It's usually abbreviated as SWT when you write. Right. So you often see when you see Muhammad, it'll say SWT, which also could be PBUH, peace be upon him in English.
I see.
It's just a gesture of respect for the prophets that you say afterward. And earlier he said, La ilaha illallah wa Muhammadun Rasulullah. There's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his prophet. That saying that makes you a Muslim. Actually, I just became a Muslim because you say that in Arabic before witnesses and you're considered a Muslim. I actually did this once before. I was having lunch with
Wait a minute. Have we made news? Robert Spencer has just become a Muslim because he said that?
Yeah. I was showing off in 1981 or so, and I was in college and I was having lunch with this Muslim guy. And he was trying to convert me to Islam. And I was trying to show off to him that I could say it. So I said the Islamic profession of faith to him in Arabic. And he said, oh, you're a Muslim now. And I said, no, I'm not. I didn't mean it. I was just saying it. And he says, it doesn't matter what you mean or think or anything. You said it. You said it in front of a Muslim witness. You're a Muslim. And this is, that's just how it works. But that guy in Times Square was doing that. And they were all repeating it with him. And saying we're going to bring that into every house in the country. Is
this kind of thinking compatible with Western civilization and governance in the United States of America?
No, not in the slightest degree, because Islam is political as well as religious. And this is what people don't understand and seem to refuse to understand. That when he says Islam is going to enter every house, it's not like I was a Methodist and I decided to become a Roman Catholic or something like that. It is a massive transformation that means not just that you become a Muslim, but that you become a supporter of a particular political program to impose Islamic law that is incompatible with the Constitution because it denies freedom of speech, denies the equality of rights of women with men, denies the equality of rights of non-Muslims with Muslims. It's deeply anti-Semitic, and all of these things are considered to be divine law, so they would supersede any provision to the contrary.
Deeply anti-Semitic. They call for the deaths of Jews. So yeah. There's no.
The Quran says the Jews are the worst enemies of the Muslims, and so they have to be fought against because the Muslims are the executors of Allah's wrath. The Bible says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord, I will repay. The Quran is just the opposite. It says, fight them and Allah will punish them by your hands.
Oh, great. So they have God's power then? Or Allah's power?
Allah's punishing the Jews as well as whoever else the Muslims attack. But you see, when some guy is out stabbing random people on the street and screaming Allahu Akbar, or blowing up the World Trade Center, in any jihad, large or small, it's the punishment of Allah that he's bringing. It's not his act. Allah is punishing the unbelievers through him.
So there's no blame or any responsibility for that on that individual person for having done something contemptible and anti-human.
Oh no, doubly so. Not only it's not his act, but also it's not a bad act. It's not contemptible. In the Islamic view, well, I'll tell you, in the Quran, it also says paradise is guaranteed to those who kill and are killed for Allah. It's the only guarantee of paradise in the Quran. So, see, in Islam, they're the big scales in paradise. Your good deeds on one scale, your bad deeds on the other. And if your good deeds outweigh your bad deeds, you go to paradise. If your bad deeds outweigh your good deeds, you go to hell. So how many good deeds have you committed? I've committed 14. And bad deeds, several thousand. But in all seriousness, nobody knows how many good deeds or bad deeds they've committed or how much each one weighs. And so this, if you're a believing Muslim, can drive you crazy and make you fear hell, which is very lavishly described in great detail in the Quran. So how do you avoid hell? Kill and are killed. If you will kill people and are killed in the process, then you will go straight to paradise.
Worst gang ever.
So there you go. That's actually the impetus for suicide bombing as well.
Sure. I don't know how much time you have, so I don't want to, take advantage. But remember the 72 virgin thing, and then there was a woman who came out and said it was actually a mistranslation, and it meant 72 raisins. Can you shed? Yeah. What happened to that?
Okay. In the first place, it's not a mistranslation. The word is huris or hurs.
Great.
In Arabic, I know.
Great. From which we get the word whore.
Yes. It's kind of a posit. It does fit very well. But the virgins of paradise are indeed the virgins of paradise in the Quran. And it's described, they got the big breasts and they're very beautiful and they're all of equal age. That is the traditions.
9.
They're 33, actually. They're all, that's all they're for. So it's just a big bordello in paradise. The thing about the raisins comes from the work of a scholar who uses the pseudonym Christoph Luxemburg. He's actually an Arab, but he uses this pseudonym because he'd be killed, obviously, if his work were under his own name. And he guards his identity very closely. But he has suggested that the Quran was not actually originally in Arabic at all, because you see Arabic, it's got 22 letters of the alphabet, and 16 of them look just like other letters. And the only way you can tell many of the letters from other letters is by the dots that are above or below. The original Quran manuscripts, they got no dots.
Really?
So the text is actually a lot more variable than people think.
What do you think that the original language was?
Aramaic.
Yep. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's older material that was in Aramaic, a lot of it, that was put into Arabic and repointed to create a holy book for this new religion. But anyway, he suggests that a lot of the weird passages in the Quran, like just having paradise be a big bordello, they actually make sense in Aramaic more. That he says that these passages about the virgins are adapted from Christian writings by Saint Ephrem the Syrian, who's 4th century, and who wrote a lot of hymns. He's very famous as a hymnographer, and he describes heaven as like the Garden of Eden. And so he describes it as a garden full of all these wonderful fruits. And the word for grapes in Aramaic is the same as the word for the virgins with different dots. You see? Why people got the idea, this is a mistranslation and it's really grapes. It's not. In the Arabic, it's very clear, these heavenly prostitutes. But if you take out the Arabic pointing and put in Aramaic pointing, then it's clear that it's just a description of like an Edenic paradise of bountiful fruits and vegetables and such that Ephrem the Syrian or somebody like him was putting together that got adapted into this.
Was there anything thank you for that explanation, by the way. That's the best one I've heard at all. And I'm very happy to hear about the Aramaic writings because it came from the tribe of Ishmael, right? So it's like a different, they were all around there and speaking the same languages and writing whatever was available, whatever language was available to them. So it makes a lot of sense to me. What was the surprising thing that you found out about this guy as you wrote?
I couldn't help but like him. I got to admit, coming out of this, after studying this guy and learning all about him, I have a certain, affection. Is that a good word? I mean, it's not like, maybe that's the wrong word because people will get the wrong idea or something.
He's a likable enough guy on the outside, right?
He's very charming. I thought the best story about him was out of 7th grade, where he went to this very exclusive school because he went to only exclusive schools.
Sure.
He very privileged background.
Sure.
His parents are multimillionaires. He's had everything handed to him. He's just a perfect kind of communist in that regard, because the communists were all elitists who were millionaires, and it was only the people who suffered from their theories. And he's just the same way. But he went to this school, Bank Street School, and every presidential election, they had a very elaborate mock election where the 8th graders would divide into Republicans and Democrats and choose 2 presidential candidates. And the 7th graders would be like reporters, and the 6th graders would be campaign workers, and all the way down, and the whole school would be involved in this mock election. And so Mamdani was supposed to be in the 7th grade group, whatever it was. I don't know if I remember it exactly right. I know the 8th grade was the presidential candidates, but the lower grades, I don't remember exactly. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to run for president. So he actually finagled with the administration of the school that he was able to run as an independent. And he won the election. And
he's a natural.
He's very clever. He's a good operator. He knows how to game the system. And he did it again Tuesday.
Yeah, he did. And then on Wednesday, he was out on a TikTok asking for everybody to send their money again.
Well, of course, what communists do. They live off everybody else's money, and they live high. He said, do you know he had 3 wedding receptions? He got married last February in New York, and so he had a small reception there with his friends. But then he went to Dubai, where his wife's family is from, had a big elaborate reception in Dubai, and then he went to Kampala, where his family is from, had another reception. His family, even though his father is a professor at Columbia and his mother is a multimillionaire filmmaker, they still have a big, nice house in Kampala, Uganda, in an exclusive area of the city where the very rich live. And he had his 3rd reception there amid heavy guards, the defund the police guy.
The defund the police guy with heavy guards. One last thing. He seems like a likable guy, but here's Van Jones weighing in on a speech.
Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. Mm-hmm. And I think that Mamdani is the one you need to hear from tonight. There are a lot of people trying to figure out, can I get on this train with him or not? Is he going to include me? Is he going to be more of a class warrior even in office?
All of the above. And then so Van Jones was upset. I'm not going to play all of it. But
see, I don't, like I said, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. It's not like I support this guy or like.
Oh, I'd never thought that for 1 second. By the way, Van Jones, a fellow traveler with Zoran Mamdani.
But it was deceptive right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We told him that. We both wrote about him at PJ Media. Other people did. We could have told Van Jones, this guy is not as charming as he seems. This guy is going to change as soon as he gets elected and implement a very ugly and destructive agenda. But that's how the left always works. They promise the world. They tell you they're going to work for justice and for the little guy, and then they get in and crush everybody. And this is what he's going to do as well.
And there's going to be flight. 765,000 people said they'd leave if he got elected. Mm-hmm. And I sure hope they cast a ballot before they leave town, but it doesn't look like they did they?
not 765. I mean, I guess, yeah, you could say technically that Cuomo got more votes than that. And so I guess they did. It was a tough thing, though. I mean, if I still lived in New York City at this point, I don't know. I guess I would have voted for Curtis Sliwa, but I would have known that was throwing the vote away.
Sure.
Voting for Cuomo is very tough.
Yeah.
If you're a patriot and not a lunatic, how could you vote for a Cuomo? It's just incredible.
Right. Yeah, I wonder why Sliwa didn't pull out. Probably because he thought he was the only reasonable choice. But a lot of people, since it's, 97% leftist in New York, he was not going to get their votes unless they just really detested the commie. But apparently not. They voted him in. So
huge ego, and also probably some sort of animus against Andrew Cuomo, because Sliwa spent all his time attacking Cuomo and not Mamdani. And so people were even criticizing him toward the end about that and asking, well, what's going on here? Are you on Mamdani's payroll? Which I think is a reasonable question.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I can't imagine Curtis Sliwa doing that, but you never know. I mean, it does leave things open to interpretation. The book is Intifada on the Hudson, The Selling of Zohran Mamdani. I keep doing that, by Robert Spencer, my guest today on the Adult in the Room podcast. And thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate it. And
talking with you, Victoria. Thank you.
Yeah, your work is always appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, so there we go. All right.